Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I did this. Well, it wasn't easy.
Stand by.
Yeah. This dirt road to the left, follow the orange.
Hit! Hit! Hit!
All right, so I got the flu on Tuesday, and here it is Saturday, out at the event. I still have some lingering effects, mostly congestion. Yesterday was really the first day that I could actually like breathe and walk around. And the biggest lingering effect is fatigue. I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I'm maybe 80% of the way back, but I basically spent the whole week laying down, which definitely doesn't prepare you for an event like this. So my goal is really to not get pulled off course. And what do I mean by that? Well, at all of these events, there is a certain amount of attrition rate, right? Competitors who, you know, for whatever reason, they can't make it the entire course. So they have to get a ride back to the staging area, which is effectively a DQ. You take a DNF and you didn't finish the course, that's a DQ. It's not a DQ for like safety reasons or violating, some sort of, sportsman ethics or something. It's a DQ of you just yourself. You did not, couldn't make it, couldn't survive. And so that's my goal. My goal is to survive. Survive! Weather conditions this morning are, it's shaping up to be a nice day, but right now it's cold. It's below 30, which for me as a Texan is not great. So fatigue is definitely going to be the one that's going to get me on this course. Other than that, I think we'll do all right.
This is the after-action report for the Old 18 Defense Reveille Peak Ranch 2-gun biathlon. This was a 5.5 mile 7-stage shooting competition that took place in January at a huge multi-use ranch in the Granite Hills of Central Texas. The weather was almost perfect. It warmed up to the mid-40s, however, it was very windy at some of the shooting stages.
Well, there's no more wind on this side, so I'm rapidly overheating. I'm gonna have to ditch my jacket soon.
The stages themselves were classic run-and-gun stages, incorporating fire and advance movements and longer target distance transitions.
Head! 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 Safe position 3, downhill.
There was also a stage that incorporated an MRAP, which was very cool. Shooting out of a turret is not something I have a ton of experience doing.
First targets are to the right of that blue ground down there in front of that berm. You see them? To the right of the blue ground, yeah. 2 red.
And also, yes, stage 1 absolutely killed my Glock. Before I dive into how this happened though, a word from this channel's sponsor, Ammo Squared. If you shoot regularly, then you know that ammo availability changes fast, and so do the prices. Ammo Squared helps me stay always prepared without chasing deals. I set my budget, I choose my calibers, and the ammo builds up over time. No panic buying, no lines, and no contracts. If you sign up, be sure to mark down pseudo. Now, my Glock. Yes, stage 1 killed my 17. But I'd like to rewind all the way back to last summer at another OED event where I had to cross a swamp. I did not come to that event prepared for a water crossing, so my pistol just took a bath. And honestly, it hasn't been the same since. If you've followed my channel since the beginning, then you've probably seen me shooting a Glock 34 as well, for a while. My 34 was an absolute lemon. I never could get it to run as reliable as the rest of my Glocks. I tried different ammo, mags, lots of cleaning, and still, it would have at least one failure to feed per event. So, 3 years ago, I found the solution. I threw it in the garbage, and I picked up a brand new Glock 17. And for 3 years, it ran flawlessly, shooting match after match every month with zero malfunctions, until that swamp last summer. I'm not sure what happened in that swamp, but it changed my 17 forever. That competition I shot in the dark after the swamp crossing, I had a malfunction every single stage with that pistol. Now, I did get it back to 100% functioning following that event, but I had a gut feeling that pretty much my Glock had changed forever, and I wasn't sure why. My once unbreakable Austrian steel has really taken a beating, and I just don't think it's come back the same. It has now become very sensitive to environmentals. And in the context of this event, it's sand and dirt. There was lots of this thick, coarse, red dirt that OED had pushed competitors into immediately at stage 1. I was so preoccupied with making sure that I didn't get my expensive jacket snugged up on the barbed wire that I did not pay attention to how I was actually crawling. I absolutely drug my pistol through the dirt in the worst way possible. It didn't even dawn on me until I got to stage 2 that I had actually done this.
Oh no! Oh.
Oh boy. A little bit grimy. A little grimy. Alright, you understand?
Even the RO could hear the grime as I racked the slide and saw a solid coating of red dirt. Stage 2 went exactly as my gut told me it would. Pain City. I even had troubles during a reload. Not only had my magazine and my gun been stuck, but so were my backup mags on my belt. It felt like the dirt had fused the plastics together. Ultimately, I did pass stage 2, but just barely. And of course, this stage totally torpedoed my score. Now, I did eventually get to break down the Glock for a quick field cleaning when I got to stage 3. Thankfully, there was a wait at stage 3, and this is about the only time that I kind of enjoyed having a rather long wait because I needed to do a bunch of admin work on my pistol. With the RO's approval, I unloaded, showed clear, and I broke out my field toolkit. Yes, I carry a full field toolkit to every event that I shoot. I have been screwed in the past by not having a toolkit, and never again. No, carrying a field toolkit is not going to slow you down, but you do you if you don't bring one.
Good luck.
I've seen other dudes on course having tons of equipment issues, and honestly, having a toolkit just gives you a little extra bit of confidence on course. So come prepared. These events are self-rescue. There is no help given on course. So after field stripping the Glock, it did better, but it was not perfect. I still had a couple of malfunctions later on. I also did swap out some fresh pistol mags that were stowed in my pack that were safe from all the sand and dirt. Now, since this event and all these malfunctions I have with my pistol, I did do a full teardown when I got home. I cleaned it out, I blew it out with air, I oiled it up, and I've shot several competitions since then, and the gun's back to performing pretty flawlessly. But again, I think it is going to be way more sensitive in the future to environmental or austere environments, dirt, dust, etc. And so my confidence in the platform has been, I guess you could say, somewhat shaken. All guns in particular are susceptible to malfunctions, especially if you get them extremely dirty. And no, I'm not talking about your artificial mud test at the flat range that you're doing for likes and views. I'm talking about, real world use out there all day long, and you're dealing with the conditions as they're presented. I think eventually, if you shoot enough in this kind of an environment, you're going to encounter a malfunction of some kind. So anyways, this was the first event of 2026, and I came into this event at the tail end of getting the flu. Luckily, this was probably the perfect event to do on the tail end of an illness, as it was really a pretty nice warm-up to the upcoming run and gun season, which in Texas is basically all year. But this course was, dare I say, fairly easy. Yeah, the shooting was very challenging, and I did have a DNF on one of the stages, but the course itself between stages was not punishing. It was actually pretty flat, and there were no major land obstacles or terrain challenges, which really was perfect for me because I was moving super slow. I did not jog or run at all between stages. Instead, my strategy was to conserve as much energy as possible for on-stage performance. Now, the course itself was actually somewhat unusual for OED and other run and gun events in general. Typically, the course is usually a big loop with very little doubling back on the trail. However, this ranch is a multi-use ranch, and I doubt it was really commercially viable to shut down the entire operation just for a run and gun event. So the course was rather tight and had some doubling back and was also fairly short. Yes, 5.5 miles is pretty short for a Saturday main event. Alright, let's do a quick dive into my equipment. I ran standard loadout, which I'm not going to get into. If you're interested, check out the rest of my videos on my page for an in-depth look at what all I carry. If you like this video too and you're not already a subscriber, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. What I will dive into though is my field toolkit. This thing has come in handy on multiple occasions, and based on the other observations I've had of competitors and the issues that they've had, I'd recommend to pretty much everyone to carry a version of this field toolkit. They don't weigh much, they are easy to stow, you could put this in a big cargo pocket, and so there's really not a lot of reasons that you shouldn't carry some form of a field toolkit. Again, it's self-rescue, and you're going to be miles away from your vehicle, so why not? Now on to scoring. No secret that OED has had some scoring issues. There are 3 scores that all competitors get: shooting rank, run rank, and your overall combined rank. Now OED has been running proprietary software to keep these scores forever, at least for the past 5 years, which is how long I've been shooting their events. This year, OED has rolled out a completely new version of their software, which offers up real-time scoring updates and allows competitors to check their scores as soon as they finish. They have accomplished this with RFID chips that competitors get at check-in, and they use these chips at each stage to check in and check out, which should help eliminate human error. Each stage also has a Starlink connection because obviously most of these events are taking place out in the middle of nowhere, which is way off grid. It was pretty cool to see their command center up and running as soon as I finished, where I got to see my live rankings and stats. Now, I did review my scores that following week when they published the final results, and everything looked to be in order, which was really great to see. I'm looking forward to seeing this system mature at future OED events.
Blue barrel, yeah, 2 red. And the next one's red. Right of the barrel.
Starting off on course, it was a long leg to stage 1. There was a man-made obstacle on the way to stage 1. It was a footbridge over the road. Now this bridge had prepared defenses, barbed wire. This looks like it took a long time to set up too, to be honest. Barbed wire is not very easy to work with, and I was pretty impressed with whoever did this. Good job. At first I considered going under, but there was no way I'm going to crawl on that metal grated floor. And then back down the other side, continuing on this long leg through the bush and into stage 1. Stage 1 course of fire was all rifle, and it started off with a low crawl under more barbed wire.
Clear, go!
Multiple positions here, with the first position basically required the shooter to be unsupported offhand shooting. You could not see the targets from prone, and you could not shimmy right or left to get on the berm.
Hit!
Each rifle position here had a number of flags that corresponded with white dots identifying the targets you were supposed to engage. Looked like some of these targets were placed all the way out to maybe the 600-yard mark.
Hit! Low down the hill. 2 dots. Red target, 2 dots.
Red target, 2 dots?
Red target, 2 dots. Slow down.
About 150 out.
Hit! Third one's in the trees. 3 dots. Red target. In the trees. Hit. One more. Hit. Go.
People coming up here, wanting to go to 1, but they're lying down if y'all can check that.
Hit.
Roger that. I'm in
Hit. You're done.
Stage 1 was a great way to start off this event. There was lots of transitions at distance, some movement. It was fantastic. However, it was a bit difficult with another stage basically right next to me to figure out if those were my hits and the RO calls or not. Oh well, I'll just chalk that up to being some real world immersion, if you know what I mean. And of course, I was fighting lots of wind here. There was a ton of missed shots while I was standing and shooting, but overall came out on top. And then back out the way we came, same leg to stage 2. Back over that footbridge with all of its prepared defenses. Next time I'm bringing some wire cutters. Stage 2 course of fire was a static line firing of 3 pistol targets with one really goofy target in the middle. It was the OED logo, which of course has a ton of empty space in it. It was 3 strings of fire, and between each string of fire you had to go play merry-go-round in the muddy water for some reason. And of course my pistol was barely functioning on this stage.
Hit.
To be honest, I thought this was a terrible stage. I understand that this location for this stage was highly limited on really what could be done, but static line firing of pistol targets was just lame. To be honest, I'd prefer a USPSA style stage over line firing like this. USPSA style stages are really pretty great examples on how to get the most out of usually some very limited space. Also, this water feature being artificially imposed on shooters was just dumb. If you've watched any of my other videos or this channel for a while, you know that I usually enjoy getting wet and muddy at these events, but there has to be a purpose to it. This just seemed like we're not really sure what else to do on this stage, so let's push them into this water.
Try to set up the camera here. Looks like
Moving on to stage 3, it was flat, some off-trail excursion here through a runoff area and then back up onto a road. Passed through a power substation, which was pretty interesting. The wait time at this stage was pretty long, with about 5 shooters waiting to go ahead of me. Luckily, I needed this time though to clean my pistol. Stage 3 course of fire was a classic fire in advance stage. It was 3 positions and all carbine. At position 1 and 2, if the shooters hit the black targets, it was an immediate DNF.
Head! 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 Safe position 2. Head! 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 Safe position 3, downhill. Head! One more. Head!
Stage 3 was great. It was my overall favorite stage from this event. The movement, the target placements, the positions, and the added pressure of positive target identification with high stakes failure conditions made for an excellent stage design and a really great example of what I think run and gun stages should be. Those prone shots that I took at position 1 were risky. I was shooting through the grass without being able to positively ID where the no-shoots were. I had a solid ID on the white targets, but no visuals on the no-shoots. So it was risky, but it did pay off.
And I'm gonna be up on that tower. I'm shooting 55. This is probably not gonna go well. Anyways, it's cold out, but I have a good hand warmer.
Stage 4 course of fire seemed almost impossible to pass. Again, this stage had a very long wait time as most of the shooters were hitting par time and getting a DNF. It was a combo stage of pistol and rifle, where you advanced to the top of the tower and shooters had to re-engage pistol at the top with unsupported strong hand. If you missed, then you had to hoist a kettlebell to the top of the tower, taking up a ton of time, and then engage a series of rifle targets from about 100 yards all the way out to 500 yards.
This thing moves.
Big round target, top of the hand only. One hit. You miss, you lift. Hit.
There were 2 strings of fire here, with 2 possibilities of kettlebell lifts. Basically, if you missed pistol on the top of the tower, you were likely cooked.
When you said hit.
Not the far red one. You only hit the first
Oh
thing.
shit, I didn't see him all the way out there. Red.
Yep, there's a white and a red. White's on top. Hit! Alright, back to white close. Hit! 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 Alright, right here, finish up the big rip. Dominant hand. 2 hits. Miss, you lift. Hit! Hit! Alright, good job. Got it done.
Wow, I'm still having pistol problems like crazy. That's fucking nuts.
While I initially thought that this stage was not possible, I did end up with a pretty decent score. However, there was a 70% DNF rate on this stage. And speaking of a high DNF rate stage, here we are at stage 5, a pistol rifle combo stage again, with some really easy pistol targets to start with. Now, per the course of fire, competitors had to keep moving as they engaged pistol targets, but that was alright. You could get up, right up on them basically, and take point blank shots almost. And then you moved into a VTAC tunnel, which I was very unfamiliar with. I've shot VTACs, yes, no problems, but for VTACs, I do immediately think about slimming down my rifle, taking off the suppressor, taking off the bipod. However, I was being a little lazy here, and I was like, well, I've shot VTACs before, it's not that big of a deal, I'll just deal with it. However, a VTAC tunnel is an entirely different animal. I felt like I spent more time here fighting to get my rifle unstuck in the confines of this VTAC tunnel than I actually did shooting. It was very tight, and shooters had to engage rifle targets at distance from 3 separate ports. I failed, but so did 70% of the roster.
Go left or right first?
Well, I only see one.
What do you see?
Let me.
Mean face is far on the left.
Okay, big target on the left.
That's mean face far.
Mean face.
Hey!
You're right and closer. Safe, new hole.
What the fuck is this? This is insanity, guys. Not bad.
Roger.
Hey! Hey!
Safe, new hole.
Hey! Hey!
Safe, last hole.
This is not a safe shooting spot, man. It's fucking weird.
So clear.
Course of fire here started off with carbine in the vehicle and then had shooters advance across probably about 100 yards or so with multiple pistol engagements all the way to the end where he finished off with carbine.
Hey! Hey! Go safe!
Safe. This first bay? Nope.
Keep going.
I see him.
Hit! 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 Hit!
This was another solid stage. Lots of distance to cover. It certainly had me out of breath by the end, and I was definitely feeling the lingering effects of being sick the week prior.
Hit! 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 Twice in the rifle. Hit! Hit!
Oh man. I can't sprint right now.
And then moving on to the final stage, a very cool setup that involved an MRAP. It was all carbine on this stage, and it started off with engaging some targets from underneath the vehicle and then moving into the vehicle and out the top turret. An insane amount of wind on this stage with very little visual feedback on missed shots.
Drop it clear! Drop it clear! Drop it clear!
Right. To the right of the blue barrel, you got 2 reds. And the next one's red. Right of the barrel, bottom of the bird. One hit.
Hit! Hit!
Now to the 3. Are you at the 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
Hit! Hit!
Now just halfway up the hill, in front of the berm.
Let's see on red.
Yeah, 2 red with 6 in front of the dirt pile. Are you all the way up the hill?
I'm at the orange swing.
flag, no, halfway back down. To the left. See it?
Yeah. That was a hit.
Hit! Now all the way up the hill.
Orange cone.
Yeah, to the orange flag to the right. There's 2 targets.
And then off to the finish line, which was basically right next to stage 7.
Right there!
Results and final thoughts. Overall, this was a fast and challenging course at a unique venue. I actually shot pretty well considering I had a DNF and then major pistol malfunctions. Of course though, I was moving extremely slow, so my run rank and my overall rank reflect this reality. With the exception of stage 2, the shooting stages at this event were great. They were a classic run and gun event, and it was refreshing to see accurate scoring. I hope this marks a turning point for OED, and they've got their software on lockdown for future events. If you'd like to see upcoming events, check out the links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment. Thanks for watching. As always, run, lift, and shoot. Refresh